So before we do this video, I'm going to quickly show you around my new room. This is the door. Down here, we've got a set of drawers. This was actually provided in the room along with the wardrobe, the bed and the bedside cabinet, which I'm using there. Got t-shirts and that in there. Got some kitchen-y bits there. Got my t-shirts and that in my wardrobe. Oh, that looks a bit dirty there, doesn't it? And then we've got my own bathroom. So, give you a nice little wide angle on that one. Got a bath and shower combination. I've got a bit of a view going on out here. Yeah. Right, and then the main reveal of the room. There we go, guys. So yeah, that's the bed. That's some of my Pokemon collection in the corner. My bedside cabinet is currently a cardboard box. Got PlayStation 4 and 5 should I say, and the Switch set up on the television. Got my desk set up here. Lighting's much better than my old room. Got a bit of a coffee station going on down there. I'm still living out of boxes slightly. I do apologise, it looks a bit messy. Some shoes going on down there. Comics and Lego cars down here. But this is the lovely view I've got out of my window. So yeah, not bad. Take that, mental illness. Hello my friends and welcome to Youth Potential, a place where we talk about all sorts of things related to mental health. Whether you feel good or whether you feel meh, this place is for you. Also, I've got an Instagram account, please go and check that out. Hello my friend, Scott here representing Youth Potential. So today I just want to talk about the state of the world. I don't think it's a great place to live in right now. Everywhere you turn, it seems like there's corruption, hatred, violence, prejudice. Yeah, not cool, not good at all. I don't think the world is so bad that we shouldn't continue, we shouldn't keep on trying. But yeah, I've just been involved in some unpleasantries recently in this world, and it's grinding. You know, I've been in my new place now for about 2 weeks. I'm still not fully settled. I feel a little bit on edge, a little bit uneasy at times. Doesn't quite feel like home at the moment, so everything else is kind of slightly intensified. Yeah, so, you know, whether you're in the real world or whether you're on the internet, you know, it just seems like there's bullies, abusers, cruelty happening in all sorts of places. Obviously, when it comes to putting yourself out there on social media, you know, you're more likely to be on the receiving end of bullying and abuse and stuff like that, and it's not nice. It's horrible, you know. I don't get them very, very often, but, you know, maybe once or twice a year I'll have a comment left on one of my videos, and it could either be derogatory towards me, or the point I'm making, or the experience I've had. And okay, everyone's entitled to their opinion, absolutely, but I think, you know, there's a way of sharing your opinion without making people feel like they're not worth a damn. You know, but I think there's a part of us that has to accept the reality of this world being a bit of a cruel place from time to time. I don't think we should just accept bullying. You know, I think we should stand up to bullies and abusers and that kind of stuff. But I think if we're going to go between that sort of pessimism and optimism, there's that bit in the middle, that realism of, you know, if you kind of somewhat expect it, at least you can kind of deal with it a little bit better if you're, you know, somewhat prepared. you know, we shouldn't have to live like that, but being like that, you know, keeps me just a little bit more protected. But I know that's not easy for everybody, especially younger people. And I experienced something this week involving a child, and it was horrible. To be honest, it's the reason why I'm actually making this video. I just wanted to share it because it just paints another unpleasant picture of the state of this world and what can happen behind closed doors, even when it's not publicised. So basically, I was at work doing my regular job, and my colleague and I went to go and visit a property. And just as we got to the front door of the property, we heard like this distressed sort of crying sound. We turn around and we see like this sort of like 10, 11-year-old boy sobbing, really, really distressed, crying his eyes out. He kind of comes running up this driveway and then starts walking in sort of our direction. And my colleague says, you know, we can't just leave this. We've got to go and check if this child's okay. So my colleague, she started speaking to him. I stood back a little bit just because I didn't want to scare the kid. You know, we're strangers at the end of the day. And I thought, if I'm going to have to make a phone call, I might have to do it like in secrecy. So I'm standing there, let my colleague handle it, and she says to him, you know, have you got any friends or family that you can go to? And this kid goes like, you know, I haven't got any friends. And that was hard to hear, really hard to hear. And he said, like, I've got family, but they're nowhere near here. And so the reason this child came out crying, he said that, you know, my mum and dad are arguing and they're screaming, and my little sister's in there, and it's scary, I can't take it. This kid's still sobbing his eyes out. And my colleague looks at me and says to the kid, you know, we're really worried about you. We're going to have to call the police. And this kid goes, no, please don't call the police. Please, please, please. I'm begging you, don't call the police because I'm going to get in trouble. And already I'm thinking, I'm definitely calling the police because there's something not right here. So I sort of discreetly walk away and start making the phone call. My colleague's still talking to the kid at this point. And the kid goes, okay, if I start walking back to my front door, if there's screaming and shouting still, you can call the police. But if not, can we just please not call them? Because I'm going to get in so much trouble. And I'm sort of standing back, I'm behind a wall, so the front door of the property that this child emerged from, they couldn't see me making a phone call. But I can see and hear everything. And out of the window shouts a man, which presumably is the dad. And he's like, oh, you shouldn't be talking to strangers. And my colleague's like, oh, shows a name badge. Look, I'm a support worker. I'm really worried about your child. He's crying his eyes out and he's really distressed. And the man goes, oh, people argue. And I'm thinking, that's not how you should be reacting to this situation. You should be grateful that people are concerned about your child. But anyway, so the dad then says, oh, if you come back in, I won't beat you. Yeah, just, that ain't right. That ain't right at all. At this point, I'm giving the details to the police over the phone. The child's gone back inside and they've shut their windows and blinds. So whilst I'm giving the last of the details to the police, my colleague comes over to me and she goes, did you see the bruising on the back of his legs? I didn't notice at first, but I know because I've done a child safeguarding course a little while back, and I know that bruises only appear in certain places on the body if someone is, you know, abused or attacked. If you fall over, you don't get a load of bruising on the back of your legs. Not that kind of bruising anyway. So we waited around 15-20 minutes. The police arrived and just said, like, yeah, in there's the kid, his little sister, and the mum and dad arguing, and we don't know. There's screaming. We don't know if it's getting physically violent. Yeah, and they took over, and then we just kind of went back to the main office and debriefed with our colleagues, because it was a lot to take on. It was a lot to carry, and I felt I was like bordering on tears at the time, because I saw my younger self in that kid. Because although my mum and dad didn't lay hands on each other, I saw a lot of their arguments when I was younger, leading up to their divorce, and it was horrible. I just know that kid's gonna grow up really, really traumatized. It's not fair, it's not right, and this fucking world is cruel. Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you folks, because please don't turn a blind eye if you see people in distress. We've got to make this world a better place by helping out. And as much as I felt shit about that situation for the rest of the day, you know, my peers, my colleagues said to me, we did the right thing, and we potentially saved this kid and his sister and the mum if they're a victim as well. But yeah, it takes a bit of courage, but we've got to look out for each other. This grimace of a planet. Okay, my friends, if you have any similar stories that you want to share, please go ahead. I understand it's really personal, so I don't expect you to, but I do appreciate you guys when you leave comments and share your experiences as well. Okay, I read every comment. I don't necessarily reply to all of them, but I do read all of them. Take care, everyone.